Hey guys, we're back with another review of Power. This is season 6, episode 10. I feel like saying
Previously on Power.
previously on Dynasty.
I know, right?
So do you have any thoughts before we get started?
No.
No.
But I think I might be officially done watching Power, so season finale.
You can't quit now. It's almost over.
It is over.
So you might as well watch the last 5 episodes.
No, I don't think I'm going to. I think I've seen it now. Especially this last episode. I don't know what they was going for.
All right. Yeah. I mean, we'll get into it.
Okay.
So the episode starts off with James waking up in his hotel room. He decides to call Tariq and reach out to him following their contentious conversation, and wants to tell him face to face things only he could say to him. After he hangs up, he is immediately contacted by Ramona, and she tells him to turn on the television. He is greeted with news that Lorette will be adding him to the ticket. He is left speechless after Ramona tells him his whole life is about to change. I don't care what anybody says. This part of the plot is just way too unbelievable. Lorette would have never picked him. And yeah, he wouldn't have had Snowball's chance of being lieutenant governor.
Yeah, that's the same thing I feel. And she got Tate being the man behind him, but meanwhile Tate should be the lieutenant governor before James.
So, also, Cooper Saxe is still trying to put Ghost in jail. He decides to visit his old place of employment to talk to Warner about the case he is no longer part of. Much to the dismay of his former boss, Saxe asks Warner if he has searched James's hotel room, and Warner is puzzled by the question. But we know that Saxe also gave Dre the cell phone from Terry Silver's car to plant in there. So, you know, that's what we know that Warner doesn't know at the start of this conversation. So Saxe keeps pushing the idea that Ghost killed Lakeisha, but Warner knows that isn't true because of his alibi being with Rashad Tate the night that Keisha was killed. Saxe still can't seem to take a hint, and then suggests that Ghost probably hired someone to kill Lakeisha. So Warner's fed up and tells Saxe that he will not be opening another investigation into Ghost, and no one will be searching his hotel room. Wah, wah, wah.
But he kind of did. Ghost kind of did.
Kind of did what?
He got Tasha to kill Keisha.
How?
Because he put it in there. She was going to testify against Tyree.
I feel like you don't like the show so much that you're starting to reach.
No, I'm this serious. They said that on the one previews of the new episode where he was like, think about Tyree before she went over to see Lakeisha. I was like, Ghost always got his head in something. He always doing something. Like, when it happened, it went over top of my head, but when I was seeing the previews, well, I guess it's the reviews of the last episodes before the new episode, they showed that part. So, he did say something.
What a reach.
I don't think so.
So now we check back in with Ghost, and he is having a celebratory brunch with Lorette and Ramona following the announcement of him joining Lorette's ticket. They did their opposition research on him and his background checked out. When it comes his time to his time as selling drugs as a youth, Lorette says him opening the Queen's Child Project will counteract the negative narrative. Do you think that's reasonable? I didn't think so either. So we also know that Rashad is still bitter and had all of the work permits on the Queen's Child project revoked. So James has another task ahead of him, which is trying to find another location for the Queen's Child project. If he doesn't make it happen, she will find a replacement for him, and Rashad Tate is at the top of the list. So Ghost thinks quick and tells Ramona that there's another site he can use to build the Queen's Child project, but it's somewhere he didn't really want to go back to. The place James had in mind happens to be the bar his dad and his Uncle Gabe own in the old neighborhood. When James walks in, he is greeted by his uncle, and he pitches the offer to his uncle. But Uncle Gabe says he has no intention of selling the bar at first. So then Ghost breaks down what he intends to do with the site, explaining he wants it to be a place where kids can play music and recite poetry, and tells Uncle Gabe that his late daughter would have loved it because she wanted to be a singer. After this whole mushy story, his uncle stops pretending that he doesn't recognize him, and they both embrace. His uncle also tells him that his father would be proud to know that his son came back to buy the bar. Uncle Gabe makes Ghost promise to make the place great. And the guy who plays Uncle Gabe, what's his name? I like him. Veteran actor.
I don't remember, but he's in another show I watched called Mr. Mercedes.
Yeah, he used to be in a different world back in the day.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't remember his name right now. So Blanca stops by Warner's office to talk about Ghost. After having to deal with Sax, he is really not in the mood to have the conversation again, but he entertains Blanca anyway. She breaks down all of the new information she has, including her believing that Ghost killed Terry Silver. After she breaks down every bit of evidence and motive she has linking Ghost to the crime, Warner has a counter argument that pretty much would dismiss her case if she tried to bring it into court. Blanca points out that she doesn't want to see him in jail. Well, not at the moment, but instead, she just wants a search warrant to search the hotel room. Warner tells her she has enough evidence to get one and to go knock herself out. What do they call it? A sneak and peek?
Well, I guess that's what they call it. I ain't never heard that before. But...
Before she leaves the office, Warner tells Blanca that she is starting to sound like Sax, and that is not a compliment in the least bit. Blanca links up with Sax, and they pay a visit to Rashad Tate's campaign headquarters.
Sax was tripping.
Yeah. Before they question Tate, Blanca expresses her frustration with Sax paying Warner an unsolicited visit because he could have ruined the whole case. When they finally speak to Tate, he brushes them off, confusing them for reporters. When Blanca identifies themselves as part of the FBI DOJ task force investigating James St. Patrick, they grab Tate's attention. Man, you get mad, you ready to talk to the cops, anything. Tate's information wasn't really that helpful at the moment, but when Sax started adding input that he shouldn't have, like Terry Silver being murdered, and pointing out the possibility of James heading to Albany instead of him, Tate's memory starts working again. Rashad plays ball and lies about James telling him that he was upset learning about his wife's relationship with Silver. Blanca is not happy to know that the information that they just got is based on lies, and that if she hands this into the judge and gets caught, her career could be over. Yeah, I think in this episode you kind of see like a turning point for Blanca, where she's willing to do like some underhanded stuff in order to further her career, because before she used to be straight-laced by the book.
And that don't make sense. Like somebody's morality is not gonna just flip like that.
Yeah, like Sachs has such a convincing argument. Like, look, we all know he did it. Da 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 da. We gotta prove it. Da 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 da. So basically, he's telling her to pretty much prove it by any means necessary.
If anything, the thing is, they trying to. The weird thing about the whole thing is, they try to make a case, but they still haven't got Tasha and Tyreek for the killing of the agent, the dude.
Ray?
Yeah, Raymond. And which that's what Blanca originally was even supposed to be doing. So,
but I guess she forgot about that part.
So what they do, just stop that and just start doing another case? Like
I guess anything to take down Ghost.
Yeah, to me, she would still be probably trying to press Tasha or telling her the truth about that more so than moving on and just keep going case to case without solving any of the cases. Don't you say you're supposed to solve the cases in front of you?
You would think, but they have I think if and it sounds like Warner is thinking this way. Like, y'all clearly have a vendetta against this one person versus trying to solve these individual cases, which kind of like.
I don't know, it's just weird. Ain't nobody in jail.
So Ghost was able to convince Uncle Gabe to sell the property to him. So now he needs someone to sign on with him. So he reaches out to his good friend Simon Stern for help. It doesn't take much to get Stern on board either. All James has to do is recommit to their initial agreement, and he does so, promising Stern even more goodwill is coming his way when he gets to Albany, and that Stern was right about Tate. So after he secures the new site for the Queen's Child project, Ghost heads back to his hotel room, but has no idea he is being watched by someone. He immediately texts Ramona, telling her to meet him at Truth so he can discuss with her the good news. Once he press send, he gets a visit from the dead love of his life, Angela, in her red dress. She congratulates him on his newfound success and asks what his current love interest, Ramona, is like. He explains to Angela that he hasn't told Ramona yet about his feelings towards her, and that she is like Angela because she believes in him and he sees a future with her. James has clearly not moved on from Angela despite her death, and expresses that with his visions of her, with her being dead and all. James tells her he doesn't want to let her go, but Angela says to him that he can, and suggests that James shouldn't tell Ramona about his past and to only let her see the legit side of him because she's not from the old neighborhood. I guess she wouldn't understand. Did you notice though, when watching this episode, it was kind of like a full circle episode, and it kind of played out somewhat like the first episode of Power, like in Truth, and when, like kind of like when he saw, when they were having that celebration, when he saw Ramona down there, it kind of like looked like the scene. Oh, cause why? Cause you was over it. I said why? Cause you were over it.
I was dozing off watching that episode, honestly.
So after Ghost is done kissing the air and talking to himself, he heads to Truth to meet with Ramona. He tells her he secured the site for the QCP, and the two hug and embrace and finally act on the romantic tension between them and kiss. Ramona apologizes, but James lets her know that their kiss was something that he wanted to do for a long time. How romantic. While James and Ramona are working on getting her, they're working on their relationship and taking it to the next level, Blanca and her team of investigators are at his hotel room performing a search. She was able to secure a sneak and peek warrant, meaning that they have to do it without messing up the place and leaving a hint of them being there. They discover dirt on his shoes.
That's legal?
Probably linking him to the crime, and of course the cell phone that Dre planted that Sachs told Dre to plant in the room.
That's legal.
It doesn't sound like it.
But then,
like, how do you get
Didn't they have a warrant then? I swear she held up a piece of paper.
Yeah, I guess for the hotel to let them in.
Yeah, because that sounds super illegal. Like, don't let
But I didn't know you can get a warrant to come into my home when I'm not here. Because the sneak and peek, for it to be a sneak and peek, you would have to like not be there, right?
And can you actually take items away when you do a sneak and peek too?
No.
What's up?
And I think Warner tells her that later. Like,
okay. Like, where are y'all doing?
After the big press conference, James heads to the cemetery to speak to Raina's grave and to tell her the fantastic news. As he is leaving, Tasha shows up right in front of his face. Tasha thinks him wanting to be lieutenant governor is a bad idea and will only lead to more people digging into his drug dealing past. Which I feel like she's right about that if we were going to go along with the possibility that he could ever be lieutenant governor in the first place. James assures Tasha that he passed his background checks and that maybe she's the one who needs to worry about her life and to stop selling drugs because he is now fully legit. He makes sure before he leaves to let his ex-wife know that nothing is going to get in the way of his future. He tells Tasha that he and Ramona are an item and that he releases her from their marriage. She can go ahead and be Tasha Green now.
Yeah, I didn't see that part.
Yeah, I mean, when he said that to her, Tasha looked so hurt.
But she already been championing that. Like,
she was, but you know, yeah, but she was perping. Like, even if I don't want to be with you, so you saying you really don't want to be with me, it still stings.
Oh man, people are weird.
So Blanca takes her newly discovered evidence to Warner, who is still not on board with this mission to bring down Ghost. His suspicions are raised when Blanca presents him with the cell phone she found in James's hotel room. He does not believe James, who has successfully evaded them for 6 seasons, would all of a sudden slip up by taking evidence and keeping it on him. Blanca's so smart, but she didn't think of that part, did she? Warner puts 2 and 2 together and figures out that it was Sachs who planted the phone in the room and demands the former DA be brought back to him immediately, leaving Blanca looking absolutely stupid.
She should not do that.
While the Fed's case against him hits a snag, Ghost is busy planning his party to celebrate his nomination. Tate stops by to have a conversation with Ghost, and it seemed like he was trying to warn Ghost about Blanca and Sachs. Yeah, because he did say initially that he came to warn him, and Ghost, with his arrogant self, basically shut him down and start talking reckless, and then Tate's like, never mind.
I didn't really see that part either.
So after Ghost basically like talks super reckless to Tate, pretty much calling him a professional loser, Ghost leaves to go meet with Tariq, who texted him that he needs to see him. The meeting starts off surprisingly well with Tariq stating that he doesn't want to argue with his dad anymore. Tariq also reveals that he is not there to talk with his dad, but Dre is, and Ghost is not happy at all. Ghost tells Tariq to leave the room, and he and Dre have a conversation. Dre is there to ask Ghost for money so he can leave town, despite the fact that he knows he was set up by James with the
connect. He said he might
murder of Jason. Mm. James agrees to give Dre $250,000 so he can flee. And again, he sits up here and talks really reckless to Dre as well.
Yeah, because Dre was talking reckless to him. But he put Dre in his place. I like that.
Well, I don't care about the talking reckless to Dre because I feel like Dre should have been dead a long time ago. So
every season, Dre should have died.
Yeah. Ghost tells him that he will text him a location that they will meet in, where he will give him the money in about an hour. Once Dre leaves, Ghost calls the security guard that helps set Dre up and tells him to call the cops and send them the footage of Dre on the roof with Jason's body. After he gets off the phone with the guard and disposes of the burner phone SIM card, Tommy sends him a text telling him that they need to meet. Now, he doesn't trust Tommy. He grabs a gun before he leaves to meet with him. Once he arrives at the location, Tommy reveals that he knows Ghost didn't kill Lakeisha. Despite him knowing that, Tommy still feels that he has to kill him. But the talk is interrupted by gunfire. Tommy claims that there are two shooters and they team up once again to take them down. After exchanging gunfire, Tommy makes it inside but goes quiet. Once Ghost gets inside, he discovers a lone body, but it's not Tommy. Sirens can be heard in the background and Ghost takes off before the cops show up. This is your soon-to-be Lieutenant Governor.
In a full-fledged shootout.
Nice. So we go to the DA headquarters, and Saxe is being questioned by Warner, but he is not alone. Tamika is representing him. Shout out to Tamika's glow up. She looks way better since she's left the AUSA's office. Dope, nice, sleek wigs. No more frumpy business suits. Homegirl had the glow up of a lifetime as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, Warner wants to know how Saxe got the phone. The pressure hits immediately with Blanca confessing to everything and realizing Saxe took the cell phone from Silver's car and planted it in the hotel room. But I feel like Blanca's smart, and I feel like she should have came up with that on her own way before this conversation.
Well, she shouldn't have let Saxe search the car. That right there was the problem to begin with. Why you letting Saxe search the car when he's not even an agent?
Yeah, true. So at this point, Warner is highly upset at what he is learning and wants Saxe to go to prison. But Tamika convinces Warner that Ghost is the bigger prize they should be going after. Both Warner and Blanca take their findings to the judge, who presided over the case and failed to land Ghost in jail. And he also was not too impressed with the evidence they brought him. As a last resort, Warner pulls out the cell phone, but it appears that it wasn't enough to convince him to give Blanca and Warner a search warrant. Meanwhile, Ghost watches in the cut as Dre is picked up by the cops for the murder of Jason. Dre will manage to get out later by snitching and lying with some help from Blanca, claiming he was there the night Ghost killed Terry Silver. So again, this is another transition you see for Blanca, because before she would have never did that.
No.
So James runs up on Vincent and promises him some favors once he gets in office if he gets a burner phone inside of the jail where 2-Bit and Spank are. Vincent agrees, and we see Tommy's two goons conveniently in the same cell together, and they're handed a cell phone by a passing guard. It rings immediately with 2-Bit answering to learn, much to his surprise, it's Ghost on the other end. After a brief back and forth, James actually convinces 2-Bit and Spank with the idea of money and revenge, and who can run the town. Wait, what were they? What did he promise them?
That basically they'll be part of his organization. I mean, that would be the connects, basically. That would run shit.
But what were they supposed to do for him?
Did they even see? I think he was just on the phone like, word. I don't know if they actually came to say what he was supposed to do. I was assuming, well, no, I don't know. I don't know what they were supposed to do for him.
Oh, yeah, because I was thinking maybe that they were supposed to kill Dre in the jail. Maybe. Would he go to the same jail? I don't know.
Dre wasn't in jail then. He got away.
Yeah, but Ghost ain't know that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what they wanted. Yeah. Nah. They were talking about Dre, but I don't know if the initial call was because of Dre. Matter of fact, I think it was. He was like, that's your man.
Ghost links up with Tasha at the penthouse, which has been repaired since Tommy shot it up. The two have another intense discussion with Ghost pitching the idea that Tariq could
turn himself in.
Yeah, for killing Ray Ray. Tasha is not on board with the plan at all because she fears her son going to jail. Keep in mind, she got him out here selling drugs and dealing with dangerous people who could also land him behind bars or dead. Yeah. Tasha leaves and James heads to Raina's room to reminisce and is visited by his daughter in another vision. So is Ghost going mad, or were they just trying to fit ways of bringing these people back? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I don't think he wasn't going crazy, but I think he had stuff was heavy on his conscience.
But I think like that's really arrogant of Ghost to sit up there and have them try to ask Tariq to turn himself in when this whole series everybody has been trying to break their neck to keep Ghost out of jail. Like, dude, you got a lot of nerve.
That he's the money maker. So a lot of times it was like, what would y'all do if Ghost was in jail?
Eat.
In the first few seasons, Tasha was acting like she ain't know how to survive with Ghost being in jail.
I mean, I feel like Tasha and Tommy together, they could have made things work. So, Ghost and Raina have a conversation. This is a conversation that they should have had when she was alive, but Ghost has after the during this conversation, Raina is talking about how they all lied and they learned it from them. They learned it from their parents. So Ghost has one more conversation with Tariq. Tariq claimed that he was tired of fighting with his father. Tariq resorts back to his misfit ways. Tariq kicks off the man-to-man convo, pointing out that Tasha told him the cops found his blood at the apartment. When Tariq brings up Ghost saying if he ever got caught, he would take the rap for him, Ghost counters by saying circumstances changed. James brings up the idea that he wants Tariq to confess to killing Raymond Jones and that he will be better able to take care of him that way. Tariq is not feeling that and calls his dad selfish once again and is not trying to see the bigger picture with his father potentially being in Albany. So basically, Ghost is saying, with him being lieutenant governor, he could pull a lot more strings. Tariq comes up with the bright idea that his dad should confess first and tell him everything he has done, and somehow convinces his dad to tell him about the time he killed Breeze in his younger days. Do you think Tariq was wearing a wire? No? Okay. After some pleas trying to get his son to listen to him and consider his idea, Tariq leaves, pointing out that his dad just broke another promise to him. So they have the big party at Truth. It was a success. He and Ramona also made their relationship official to the world by kissing in public. James is closing down Truth for the night. While he is doing so, he gets another visit from a ghost in his head, and it is Kanan. Kanan tries to convince Ghost that no matter what he does, he will be a terrible person for the rest of his life. Ghost immediately dismisses Kanan and continues on, but he has no idea there will be multiple people on their way to the nightclub to see him. While Ghost was talking to himself, basically, Blanca and Tamika broke down to Sax and Paz separately that the case against Ghost has fallen apart. So basically it's what? Sax, Paz, Tommy, Tasha, Tariq, Tate, and Blanca, who are on their way to Truth to try to shoot Ghosts. So we see all these people headed to Truth to go ahead and get Ghost. Oh, Dre was headed there too.
All at the same time.
All at the same time.
Like there's an alarm clock.
Yeah. Okay, everybody, head out. Let's go to Truth and kill Ghost. On your mark, get set, go.
But nobody had any communications with those. That's the craziest coincidence.
So, next thing you know, we hear a gunshot and we immediately see Ghost with a bullet wound to the chest falling from the catwalk he usually oversees his club from. So, season 6, this is the mid-season finale. They left us with a cliffhanger with the hashtag Who Shot Ghost. This is real, what is it? Dallasy? Like Who Shot JR? I don't know if that's what they were going for. I'm guessing that was, because that's the only other famous Who Shot Ya series moment that I could think of right now. Which, I mean, even if you didn't watch the show, you remember Who Shot JR. So I'm feeling like they did the episode in the vein of that. So I felt like the episode was predictable as soon as it started off in the beginning with them having such a full focus on Ghost. I was like, this is the episode that he's going to get killed. And do I believe he's still alive? No. And the reason why I don't believe that he's alive, or if he is alive, he'll be on life support and he'll die shortly after, is because the Power prequel that starts 48 hours after Power ends is called Power Book 2 Ghosts. So if it's a prequel, it would make sense for them to go over his life when he was younger,
so when
coming up,
did that come
because
out today?
He's now dead.
That came out today?
No, after the season ends, like fully ends.
Oh, so I was there. So after January, well, after like, it was probably like. What,
So that'll
March?
be on like February, March, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm done with Power.
You say that now. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and then we'll talk about this again in January. No. Do you have any overall thoughts?
Yeah, I'm done with Power. That's done, I'm done.
So, I mean, that's just my prediction. He may not be.
I mean,
so you're going to have to watch.
Even if he ain't done, I'm done.
Are you?
Yeah.
So no more reviews?
I mean, you can still do reviews. I just don't like it. It's not good TV. It's not,
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I do not disagree with that. I'm kind of disappointed. I was really disappointed about this last episode because I was like, this is the mid-season finale. As soon as it comes on, it's so predictable. I know exactly, well, pretty much what's going to happen by the end of the episode. It was just like, no.
It's like they just having fun now. Like, what can we do for fun?
Yeah, because everybody's going to watch anyway.
There's no type of logistical or logical explanation for a lot of stuff to go on the show. I mean, we did it every episode. It's just something after another after another. Like, they don't have anybody from a lawyer to law enforcement and let them know like this isn't how that would have happened or anything. Like they don't have anybody like
Well, they should.
on set
Yeah.
saying this would never
They
happen.
need someone to consult.
There would have been an arrest.
Yeah.
Dre went from being an informant to being a killer. How you kill somebody while you're an informant? He killed, what's the dude's name? That big dude.
BG, which they also never talked about. Meanwhile, that was like Tommy's right hand who was with him like every day.
Did Tommy even ask where he was at?
If he did, I missed it.
All right, well.
Well, that's our power review. I guess at least I will see you guys in January with more power. So until then, love you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks. Bye.